Remember the movie Pulp Fiction? There was really interesting expression there said by Samuel L. Jackson that at one point he had a moment of clarity. Well, this is what I had pretty much. Over the last 10 years, I would say, situations that I have and gangstalking that I have, you realize that whatever you do, you cannot achieve specific things, but it's because there's always some kind of involvement of a third party. So since I am losing pretty much everything here in Atlanta that we invested for a very long time and won't be able to collect, they said I was robbed about $200,000. And the refusal of people in Utah as well to give my mother medical assistance that she needed, and which led to me spending $250,000 just on her medical expenses and anything related to her sickness. Refusal to help with recovery of my father's patent, which is millions, if not billions of dollars. Gangstalking and trying to shut me up. Several times I was a target of entrapment to look like fraud, like criminal. So de facto, I have people that perpetually show up and do stuff against me. So you do it once, you do it twice, 3 times, 4 times, it happens to you, then you say, no, there cannot be coincidences. And then when you realize how much money are involved, and it doesn't matter if you're a Christian in Utah or you're black here in Atlanta, they're all in the same pot to cook me in a way. So whatever I've done, I said, they killed my father 33 years ago. They stole his research. People here and in Utah, they had the business together with people that killed my father. Now my mother died in really strange circumstances. In the same time, just before she died, I was poisoned. And when I tried to see what's going on, who has access to my apartment anyway, the person who would answer questions, a former manager of homeowners association, had executed in his office in Midtown Atlanta by a woman from Africa. Anyway, as I said, you do it once, twice, 3 times. Next week, I was forced to leave. I had a choice. Either I can stay in my apartment, but I will lose my car. There's a situation that, I was not going to have. It just, as I said, it kind of pisses you off. Small things kind of ruins your life. But anyway. So, I will have to leave for Iowa to reclaim a pension. Pension is a different story. It's one of the things, something I pressed wrong. Okay, anyway. Pension is the same thing. Anything happens, I have sabotage of any kind, of some kind all the time. So, I've been gangstalked for a very long time. I had a situation I had to deal with the state of Utah 30 years ago. And state of Utah cover up a lot of stuff that I wouldn't do anything. Okay, so anytime they sabotage my business, what I had in Utah, they cut my credit to 0, which made me impossible to buy merchandise. And you have 1, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and it's not just 1 year, 2 years. No. You have perpetual actions against me. So the only thing I need to do is very simple. I need to attach my father's research and patent to myself and my family 100%. Because if I leave, I need to take my father's patent with me. Doesn't matter where I go. I have 2 choices that I can go. Bulgaria, I cannot go even though I live there and I speak like in Bulgarian like I speak in Russian. But they have stuff to release. They have to release there's a file I need to be released that I can have a leverage dealing with scumbags here once in a while. I need simply to shut them up. So, That's what it is. I have no choice but exploratory stuff. I'm not leaving tomorrow. I have to make sure that I have my social security. You see, I'm American citizen. I'll be one of those American citizens that live everywhere in all over the world if I have to leave. But what they did, they made impossible for me for the last specifically 10 years to live normal life. When somebody robs you, when somebody kills your relatives, and then I even don't want to start what happened to some of my relatives in Ukraine, where my father's impulse technology came from, and friends. I'm not even touching this yet. But my point, as I said, very simple. There's a situation created for me personally that I cannot stay here, even though maybe I would stay a few more years if there was normal stuff. I kind of taught myself to control things. But first, I have a perpetual impoverishment. I have attacks on my financial situation. I mean, up to the point, as I said, they deprive me out of my pension. I have no pension currently to collect. And I have no money. So practically, I have to eat, in a way, kind of a one egg per day to save. But my point, as I said, really simple. Those people are scum. And if it's Utah that go to church every single day, I mean every single weekend, and pray, the God for forgiveness, or here it doesn't matter if they are, what color they are. So my point is very simple. In both states, I had unbelievably bad type of gangstalking. And it's always perpetual impoverishment, which is financial hit. And I was blacklisted in Utah for 2 years. I couldn't find a job just because I couldn't stand the harassment that I had at JCPenney. JCPenney harassed me when my wife was pregnant. Okay? You have scumbags massively, and they're some of the managers. So that's what it is. And one of the managers actually now is in one of the churches there that I have to look at. But my point is very simple. I have a harassment for over 10 years, specifically, I would say 8 exactly, because starting with Atlanta, when my mother got sick, somebody tried to hijack my apartment here. Then when I tried to sell my apartment, I had the situation done, practically the sales was sabotaged. I had really good real estate, the last one, but she couldn't sell it either because, I mean, we had very strange situations. For instance, people put their money to buy it from me, like promise money. They put it down and say, we are coming Monday and we're gonna sign the deal. Okay, then they come back and they lose the money, but then they're not buy apartment. Every time there was as I said, it was perpetual lie and sabotage. Then I tried to get my mother's part. I own half of the apartment, my mother owned half of the apartment. So de facto, that woman owns part of the apartment and me is the one who owns most of it. I still cannot retrieve the part through the courts. I tried to send documents, they made an error. And you know what they told me? That because so many new people in Fulton County, they don't know what they're doing. So, and my apartment went into foreclosure. And not just foreclosure, it's one of the most wonderful places in the South. Atlanta, Buckhead, it's called Beverly Hills of the South. You know Beverly Hills Hotel in Beverly Hills? Well, the building that I live, it's called Buckhead Grand. And Grand Hotel of Buckhead. It was one of the first 4 stars condominium that we had. And they ruined the way it done it. They said they tried to hijack it. There was members of, even one of my colleagues participated. One of my bosses participated. So you have constant attack, financial, And the latest is the job. As I said, I worked 5 years. They set a situation that would get me fired. So, well, what I can do, I mean, if you have once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, something scared my wife in Salt Lake City. She sold everything, and they moved out with my son out of the country. So, should I go there and see? Yeah, maybe I will go for a while. But as I said, I need to finish stuff to be ready myself if I need to leave. I was threatened to get my citizenship removed from me, which I am citizen forever already. I mean, as I said, I live in the United States for almost 40 years. Then somebody gets into my apartment and steal my passport when I wanted to go to Spain and visit my son. See what I mean? So you have a perpetual coincidences which looks like operations. Okay. So we'll see what will happen now. And in the end, as I said, instead of letting me sell my apartment, they will not let me. So de facto, I'm leaving my apartment to the bank. I stopped paying for everything for a very short time ago. I stopped paying even for gas and electricity. I stopped completely spending any money on my apartment because it's going away. The trick with the apartment was supposed to be really simple. If your apartment or condominium goes for foreclosure, they sell it on auction, they subtract the expenses, and they give me the rest. But they don't. This is the whole thing. There's a thing that, well, I won't be able to go back to Utah on my own expense and do stuff. What's going on is very specific. My father's impulse technology research is used by some companies that they're in Utah. And I repeat myself, I do it several times every day, maybe already. People get tired, but semiconductors, in order to work properly in artificial intelligence, need to be calibrated by impulse technology. So impulse technology, ionic impulse, was my father's invention. Not just ionic impulse by itself, but the relay that gives specific power to this impulse, which can be used in tokamak systems. It can be used in impulse weapons. So, anytime I try to go to this thing, I have shit on me, sorry, dropping. De facto, they're just, those are bullies. They destroy your life. They take your money. They threatened to call me racist because I was only one white person at work. They bullied me out. Only blacks bullied me out. This is the only people that work there. I was only white person. And they did everything possible. As I said, one of my bosses participated in attempt to get my apartment for cheap. Okay? So, as I repeat, I'm not going to repeat myself, but this is it pretty much. Bullying, attempt of entrapment. Entrapment, you know what entrapment is? It's when people try to make you look like you are a criminal. This is how entrapment is done in order for people to be put in jail, okay? So de facto, I was threatened to be put in jail. They're going to do, latest I had was that they're going to do something that put me in maximum security somewhere, but just to scare me off. When I was forced out of my Allied Universal Security, the biggest firm in the United States, actually in the world, security firm. I was a supervisor. I was paid normal. Actually, I was paid less than some others. And I was deprived of some extra income they always had. But this is black world. They have, as I said, there was only one white person there. So they had their own agreements between each other. Anyway, but this is what it is. So it's going to take a while, of course. But I am, as I call it, I'm doing explorer's list what to do. There's a lot of people live in the country. Even my son, he lives in Europe. He's an American citizen. So it's not exactly something new. A lot of people do live outside of the United States after they immigrated to the United States and left. But as I said, 40 years. And this is definitely, there's no more coincidence, specifically when I get to two contractors. I had two contractors, they use my father's technology. It's Texas Instruments. Okay, it's before it was National Semiconductor. Okay, it's Texas Instruments. Texas Instruments uses the impulse technology to calibrate whatever the semiconductors they use, plus and other stuff. Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturing company, but this is outside the United States. You cannot do anything about it. And then, as I said, there is one company in California that it's former Russian company. So I cannot even go to them close to ask for my father's patent. And there was a company that it's called Accenture. It's Accenture, it's a military contractor, communication company, that got a new military contract. It's called Shark Cage, exactly. They're written together. Shark Cage, the ultimate solution, the tracking system for submarines worldwide. Okay, they use artificial intelligence to take over and track submarines and submarines communications that are using impulse technology, which is again is my father's impulse. It's my father's impulse patent. Lately, whoever read the news, it's called Havana Syndrome. If you read it, so this was about impulse technology weapons, and a person under the name Eric Prince. He was I always mix those two names, but the thing is, he was a founder of Blackwater. Blackwater is a private army, first private army. He said where the impulse weapons are created, and they created in Kharkiv, in the same laboratory where my father worked. And my father's patent is from there, from the same laboratory. Okay. And the moment there was news about it, they never named the names. They shut up and isolated themselves. Whoever tried to, we talked about these impulse weapons. When I tried to do and reach for people to give me answers, I was shut out as well, and I started having problems at work. I worked at the business center as a security supervisor, where one of those companies called Accenture that got a military contract. Okay, and then suddenly, again, I started having massive problems, and I got forced out. And so, if somebody ruins you, if somebody kills your mother, she experienced all the symptoms of impulse weapons hit. All of them. Okay. Even me, I had one impulse light version of it in 2018 in February when I worked in a hotel in Draper, Utah. But anyway, there's more to talk, more and more to talk. But my point is, you have you have 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4 years, 8 years just in Atlanta since 2016. And before that, I had situations in Utah. I tried to do research and ask people for help. I had my family that I lived in Bulgaria at the time was kind of powerful. I had good connections, so I tried to find somebody to try to connect me and return my mother's money. Bulgaria stole my mother's money, lots of money. So and everything was in vain in a way. And the moment I started doing this more and more, I started having more and more problems. And in the end, as I said, as a fact, I'm losing my apartment. I'm becoming homeless. No, somebody sabotaged my social security, which is government pension. We spent a lot of money on my mother's medical expenses. because she was refused medical assistance. Like they have programs here, and not just in Utah, but Atlanta as well. So in the end, as I said, next week I will see. It's going to be Monday, highly likely. I will need to leave the apartment, and I will drive to Ames, Iowa, which is former nuclear town. It still has some kind of labs there, but nuclear town for Manhattan Project. And not just that, during Cold War, it was really interesting place. Do you remember Khrushchev holding corn in the picture? Corn, and well, this happened in Ames, Iowa, I think 1963. But anyway, that's what it is. I've been trying to solve this thing for years. I spend my time, I spend money, and I've been ruined, and I spend all my money. And well, that's why I'm not investing in anything anymore. And I'm becoming 63 years old. That drove me into, I have my poisoning that I had was really nasty, and as I said, the death of a possible witness who knew who may be is entering my apartment, and poisoning for the stomach specifically, it brought a medical condition, and I don't have insurance anymore. Anyway, this is it. This is for today. I will start doing every single day. I will start doing the video for this. It's a possible countdown that I have no choice but to leave. I don't know, as I said, where I have connections in Germany. Possible that if they leave, I don't have a connection, but if the government of Germany gives me this program that they have, and I'm still gonna keep citizenship. I'm not resigning American citizenship. I've never done anything wrong, even though people tried to make me look like I did.